What's up, everybody? It's Kyle here again. I have made this video like 4 times now, but here it is. This is a review of my 2006 Nissan 350Z. This is a 71,000 mile example, super clean. Does have the automatic, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's still a super nice car. I have had it for probably about 4 months now. I've really enjoyed it. Kind of made a mess of it, just being like dirty. It all can be cleaned out. But I have really enjoyed this car, and I'll kind of get into the ins and outs of the things that I like and the things that I don't like. So, first of all, it does make a great camping vehicle. I took it out camping, didn't go too far off the beaten path, but fit all the camping gear. Couldn't fit a cooler, so we had to have my buddy bring the cooler, which is a bit of a bummer, but anyway, fit all of our camping gear in there. It actually fit extremely well. Got, chairs, tents, wood, everything, and I was kind of surprised at how much it fit, but it was a tight fit. Let's see what else. So it makes a good camping rig. I have driven it fairly hard. I haven't had any issues at all, knock on wood. But it is a really fast car for being 100% bone stock. It sounds really good. I was really impressed. I didn't expect an exhaust to, a stock exhaust to actually sound good, but it does. Not great, I would prefer do a little bit louder of an exhaust, but I really don't want to be messing with it just because it is a bare bones stock car. For it being an automatic, I do think that it does a pretty dang good job. I have, it has a little slap shifter, which I think is pretty cool. It shifts really nice and smooth, and actually really fast. Comparing it to a couple of the other exotic cars that I've been in, it shifts really fast compared to those. So, pretty easy to get in and out of. Bolsters do show a little bit of wear on the door side on both ones, but it's not terrible. Again, going back to being a stock car, it is really fast. I was thoroughly impressed with how quick it is. I wasn't expecting it to be a powerhouse by any means, but it does feel really fast. I can understand why a lot of people do tune these cars and do, make them into drift cars or whatever. So I do understand all that. Speaking about drifting, it drifts extremely well. I have only, I've taken the traction control off a couple times, when it's a little rainy or whatever, and I can put it sideways pretty easy. I was really impressed by that. And again, going back to a lot of this, it's for it being a stock car and original, I just can't stress that enough. And with that, I think the value of the car is definitely there. These things really aren't that expensive. I paid $8,000 for this. I feel like I got a fairly good deal on it, but for it only having 71,000 miles, I think I got a pretty good deal on it. So it is a very driver-focused car. All the gauges and everything point at you. I also think it's really cool that the gauges in the cluster move with the steering wheel. I've never really thought about it, but that does kind of make a big difference. The sound system is really good. It's a Bose sound system. I'm not I'm not a nut that way. I don't go crazy over a really nice sound system, but it sounds great for, it being a 2006. It has a subwoofer in the back, which I think is pretty nice. Just gives a good even sound to it all. There's a couple tweeters somewhere, I don't remember where. So it just has a good, well-rounded sound to it, which I really like. I don't like anything that's like super bass heavy or super, treble heavy. Just kind of is annoying more than anything. But yeah, the seats are extremely comfortable. They hold you in there really tight. If you were a little bit bigger of a person, I don't know how comfortable it would be, but I think it's really comfortable for me at least. I really enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, it's good bolsters without being like a total nuisance to get in and out of. The hatchback I think is pretty badass. This car sounds just good. It's just a very well-rounded car, which is kind of sad considering how many of them are so messed with. That's one of the reasons that I was really drawn to this one. I know it's an automatic, but it is bone stock, which is like almost impossible to find. Believe you me, I tried to find one, and I looked at a couple ones that were modified. People just don't know how to modify their cars. They end up just ripping them apart and just destroying the car as a whole. So I was really glad to find a really clean one. I figured I'd put 4,000 or 5,000 miles on it and call it a day and move on to the next car. It's been a car that I've always wanted to drive and own, and this one for me is like the perfect one. So everyday usability is totally there. I 100% think, and I have been using it as a daily driver. I don't think that there's any quorums to that at all. Good job using the big word, Kyle. I don't think there's any issues at all using this as a daily driver. It is rear wheel drive, so if you are going to be using it in the winter, you need to be a little bit more safe, but that just kind of goes with having a rear wheel drive car. It has heated seats. Overall, it's just a really, really nice car. I do think, okay, so I have these gauges up here on the dash. There's 3 of them. One of them is your voltage, your oil PSI your oil PSI, and then there's a digital one that you can change up whatever you want to see on it. And I always just set it to miles per hour, just because it's just nice to look at a digital gauge instead of an analog. So I really, really do like that digital gauges on there. It just makes it really nice to see your miles, and it's really close to your windshield, so you just glance down and you can see. Like I said, it sounds good. I came into this parking garage with my Fummins once, and I was like an inch away from hitting on everything. I was so scared, but I didn't ever hit it. And then I switched to my 37s, and I almost drove into this parking garage, and then I remembered how close I was to hitting, so I just decided not to. But holy shit, here's a Z8. That's kind of cool. You don't see those very often. I just wanted to come up here and kind of give you guys a rundown on some of the things that I think are cool about this car. One thing I think is really cool that Nissan did a really good job of is kind of bringing down the legacy of the 350Z, or of the Z. The family that's been, it's been in the family for a very long time, and they kind of kept the Z as the focus point of the whole car. I'll show you, there's tons and tons of Z's throughout the entire car, just bringing you back to the original, which I think is just really cool and unique. So we have one right there, right on the steering wheel, which I think is pretty cool. And then there's another one tucked in right here, where the air vent blows right into the door panel. And then they also integrated these 3 square dots, like 3 square dots, and the Z is right there as well. Right there, you got 3 square dots, and then the Z, which this one's peeling a little bit, but I think they all kind of do. I also thought it was very funny how they show you how to store 2 sets of golf bags, which just kind of shows you the clientele that they were originally going for with this car. It's also really cool that it's in Japanese for part of it. I really like the hatch there. That part I think is just kind of cool, and I don't know, Corvettes have them and a bunch of other cars have them, and I just think, you know, that's one part that I really like. I guess one other review thing that I didn't notice until about a month after me owning it was that these two door panels are different. The passenger side has the little Z thing that I was showing you, with the bar with the 3 dots on it. But the driver's side does not. It has just a little handle, and then the controls in front of it. This one doesn't have a handle. It just has the handle up here. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I also really like how the air vents are right there. So they kind of just shoot right at your face, and it's a little bit closer to you, so you can control it really easily. One other little quirk with this car is this little spot. I just use it for my registration and everything, but it's just a little cubby that is kind of just in here. It has no purpose at all. It's just a little cubby. But these are the gauges that I was talking to you about. And this you can scroll through and check your distance till empty, or your miles to the gallon, or whatever. But I normally just keep it on the miles per hour. It has an auto dimming rear view mirror with the 3 presets for your garage door. I do not have a garage door, so I don't use that. Have a little sunglasses holder up here, and then you have your controls for your heated seats. And then this I keep really messy too. It's just another little cubby. It is has a little drink holders here, but it's not very, I don't know, it's not super stable, which is kind of sucky when you have drinks or whatever and you don't want to spill them. And then, it has a little cubby and stuff inside there, but it's nice that you can kind of just close that up. It's kind of nice you can just close that up. You also don't have a glove box here. You do have another little drink holder, which I use this one way more than I use the other ones back here. And then below that, you have a little cigarette lighter. So it's kind of a weird spot, but I guess it makes sense if you're gonna have a radar. And then you also have another cigarette lighter back here. And you have 2 little cubbies, one behind each seat. Then once you move the seat forward, you have this little custom, I don't even know what it's called, custom little skirt or apron. It's custom. Let's call it an apron. On the back, you have this custom little apron that holds your manual and has tons of little spots to put different things. I don't know really what you would put back here other than your manuals. One other little thing to note, which I think is kind of funny. So the 350Z and the G35 are basically the same car. There's some differences, obviously aesthetically, but the power plant and everything like that are basically the same. So one thing to note there, I think that's kind of cool. And then there is a gigantic cubby back here. I don't even know if you can fit back there, but there's a lot of storage back there, which is kind of nice. Then you have a set of speakers back there. And then you have a subwoofer behind the driver's seat. These little gas doors never fully line up. I don't know if you can tell, but it's off a little bit right here, and then it has a big gap on the back. There's a big gap right here, and it gets really narrow right there, and it is just kind of cockeyed. So that's one thing that kind of bugs me now that I know. Like I said, this is basically like the G35. There's not a whole, mechanically it's the same. There's tons and tons of aesthetics and little things that they change that way, but basically it's a Infiniti G35. I've seen all the supercharger kits and turbo kits and everything like that are universal for the most part. I don't think that there's anything that you can't do on one, or that you can do on one that you can't do on the other. And I really do think this is a good looking car. I really like the way it looks. I mean, it's not overly flashy, but it is just a good looking car. If I were to modify one thing, or I guess there'd be a couple things that I would modify if I was, you know, designing the car from original, or just modifying it for my personal taste. These wheels are sunk in so far. I would definitely change that. You know, if I was gonna keep this car for a really long time, I would probably do a different exhaust. And I've never really been a big fan of the way that they integrated the turn signals and the backup light. Anyway, thanks for letting me kind of tell you guys my perspective on the car. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a super big powerhouse, and it's not some crazy exotic car or anything like that, but it is a great sports car that could be used as a daily driver. Also do think it has a lot of performance for the money. I mean, I bought it for $8,000. I think that's a fairly good deal for what I got. I've really been impressed with it, and if you guys are looking at getting one, I think you would be really impressed with it too. The big things that I would say to stay away from are modified cars. I know that just it seems like everybody tries to modify them hard. I mean, you know, an exhaust here, an exhaust, or wheels, or whatever. I think those things are okay and wouldn't hurt it too bad, but I've just seen people destroy these when they, you know, just try to do too much to them. They start tearing them apart, and I don't know, it just ruins the car, I think. So if you guys are looking at one, I think it is a great car to have. I am extremely glad that I bought mine. I think it'll be kind of tough to beat for around that $8,000 mark. You know, you can get a really, really clean one for $10,000, and you know, you can still get a fairly nice one for about $6,000. So that's a good range, especially for, you know, kind of a beginner tuner fun car. I think this would be a great car for that. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoy just the way that it's been for me. It is, you know, super simple. If you guys are looking at getting a 350Z, then I definitely would suggest it. I think it's a great car for the money. That's my thoughts on the 350Z. Please let me know if I missed anything. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the 350Z, and I will catch you guys in the next video.